you all for gathering here. For those of you who don't already know, the staff of the Globe, meaning each and every one of you, has been awarded the Pulitzer Prize for breaking news reporting for our coverage of the time in the history of this great institution that we have won this particular Pulitzer Prize. Each and every one of you should be incredibly proud. Just for a moment, I'd like to put a few words to the feeling that I know all of us have, and that is there's nobody in this room that wanted to cover this story, and each and every one of us hopes that nothing like it ever happens again on our watch. And so I'd like to take a few moments, or just a moment of quiet reflection and remembrance to think about all we have seen that week and over this past year, to think about the people we've met, and especially to think about the people we never got the chance to meet. Crystal Campbell, Martin Richard, Lindsay Liu, and Officer Sean Collier. Thank you. What happened that week in April brought out the best in all facets of Boston. The first responders did extraordinary work. The fire department, EMTs, police officers, the medical community saved countless lives, doing miraculous work in Boston hospitals. The business community did amazing work, seeding the one fund that has taken care of so many people ever since. Our sports teams have given us a distraction that is also a common cause. Investigators work feverishly to solve the crime. And in all of that, the news media had a vital role to play. And with this award, we have been told that nobody in America did it on any breaking news story better than we did. So congratulations to you all again. Thank you. Here's what you did during that incredible week. The moment the bombs went off, John Tumlaki walked toward the smoke, shooting the most iconic images of the entire episode. David Ryan shot from the bridge, capturing the shot of the bomb going off, the second bomb at the Forum restaurant. Steve Silva walked down Boylston Street as others were running away, grabbing video footage that has been viewed by tens of millions of people. David Abel filed the first real dispatch, sprinkled with blood on the sidewalk of Boylston Street, getting something online within 10 minutes of the attack. We would not have won this award if it wasn't for the extraordinary work of those people. John, David, Steve, David Abel, thank you to you all for what you did that day. Also did. Teresa Hannafin, Adrian Lavador Berman set up shop on the front page desk, curating social media, tweets from the staff, tweets from all over the city, and putting out the most reliable stream of information that existed that week. We would not have won this award but for our social media team, so thank you for that. Ronna Grella, Angela Nelson, the entire overextended crew of news producers on Boston.com became one of the two go-to sites in the whole country, producing the most reliable news and the fastest news of the week. We would not have won this award but for Boston.com. Jason Toohey and Jesse Nunes and the rest of the all-star crew at BostonGlobe.com. We took the paywall down, and they did unbelievable work from that Monday through that Saturday and far beyond. We wouldn't have won the award but for them. place and then ended up covering it. People came in from vacation, people came in from off days, reporters who were in the room streamed downtown, editors took up the command. We covered all the hospitals that night that led to the most memorable story of the first day, an interview with the Norden mother whose 2 sons were injured. We came up with the most fresh information that first night. We had the most iconic images that first day. What the Metro staff, what the business staff, what the sports staff, what the art staff did in pitching in. It was unlike anything that I think any of us have ever seen. People all working together intimately so. You get the feeling if you pulled one thread out, if just one of us didn't do the work we were required to do, the whole thing would have come apart. But everybody held their own, and for that I thank you all. Editors, Chris Chinland was managing editor for about a cup of coffee when this happened. And she ran the room as capably as anyone ever possibly could. I relied heavily on some of the best news judgment I have ever seen, so I thank her. Jen Peter handled the Metro staff in this whole story like the conductor at a great symphony, wielding the baton with so much talent and producing extraordinary news, hour in, hour out, paper in, paper out. So thank you to Jen Peter. Mark Morrow. Mark Morrow may well be the most creative guy in the country. We relied on him heavily through that whole week. And what he produced was one great idea after another, and his editing on key stories helped make this package what it was. We wouldn't have won it without him. Steve Smith, our city editor, I think was sitting here Monday, and I don't think he left until Saturday night. But that's just a typical work week for him, actually. With Steve's insight and editing skills and ability to boost morale, we would not have won this award without Steve, so thank you for that. Mike Bello, the best hard news editor I have ever met in my life, was the first one to hear this on the scanners and guided this all the way through. He wasn't just an editor that week, but a reporter, pounding the phones and coming up with some of the best tips that we had. We absolutely wouldn't have won this without Mike Bello. Caleb Solomon, are you here? He is somewhere. Caleb? Hey. Overseeing our digital coverage that whole memorable week, leading to some of the most extraordinary coverage we could have minute by minute, doing it smartly all the time, and then weighing in on our print coverage as well. We would not have won this but for Caleb Solomon, so thank you for that. And then Chris Mayer. Chris, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Chris? Asked for a better publisher to go through this with. He was concerned about the entire room, concerned about each and every person in it. There's a moment early Friday morning, about 2 a.m. The shootout was going on in Watertown, and I had to do what most editors never have to do in their career. They had to pick up the phone and ask him to stop the presses. And I was dreading waking Chris up. And when I called his house, he picked up on the first ring and said he had already been in touch with the production room and that everything was all set. So Chris was as invested in this story as any news executive ever could be. We wouldn't have won it without Chris. Our graphics team was extraordinary. One key graphic after another in print. one beautiful interactive graphic after another online, day in, day out, hour in, hour out. They were a key component to this. Our designers, Robert, Jane, Dan, produced the most memorable front pages we have seen here in a long, long time. They rose to the moment, they were bold, and they knew they were creating history in these front pages. We were very proud of what they did as well. We wouldn't have won it without them. And of course, the copy desk. They were hit very, very hard by a volume of copy that nobody ever could have anticipated, and it was almost impossible to handle. And yet, night in, night out, they worked with our copy that we produced on deadline, not all of which was as pretty as we might like, and made it into beautiful prose. It made us all proud in the next day's paper. We would not have won this but for the copy desk. Wasn't just a news operation either. Richie Masada over in production held the presses for us and got us to hit 160,000 globes with the most recent news of the overnight rampage on Thursday night into Friday morning. So we're covered in Friday's paper. Display was beyond helpful. It was a building-wide operation, so we thank them as well. I also just want to note as we're marking this honor, that we came very close in a couple of other areas to other Pulitzers this year. I don't remember another year in which we're finalists in 3 different categories. But John Tumlaki, as well as being a vital contributor to this breaking news category, John and David Ryan were both finalists for breaking news photography. Because I've researched it, that there is no news organization in the history of the Pulitzer that on 1 year has won both breaking news reporting and breaking news photography. If it was ever going to happen, I thought it would have been this year, but the odds were stacked against us for that. But it's an extraordinary honor to be a finalist in your own right, and you're pivotal in the Pulitzer that we did win. Kevin Cullen was a finalist in the commentary category. No longer can I regard him as the second best columnist in America. What Kevin did last year was unlike anything I have ever seen a columnist do in my career in journalism. He rose to the story, rose to the occasion, produced the most memorable prose of any columnist I have ever seen. Being a finalist is an extraordinary honor, and I will forever be indebted to Kevin, not just for his coverage of the marathon and the first responders, but for his columns about Whitey Bulger and the Catholic Church and a whole lot of other things in this city. It was Kevin's moment. He took full advantage of that moment, and this city wouldn't have been the same without him last year. So thank you to Kevin Cullen. Here. In the face of the greatest challenge that any of us have had in our professional careers, we rose to the highest levels we've ever been, and we all did it together. Everybody in this room mattered in that endeavor. I'm no prouder of you today than I was last week or last month or even last year at this time, but I will tell you I'm a whole lot more gratified that the Pulitzer Board has chosen to honor you. So thank you and congratulations to you all. Every speaker goes on as long as I have, we'll get out of here around midnight. But I want to